What's cracking, guys? Omar Isaf here, back with another video. 7, we have to address the controversy from the previous video, and that is that I had a booger in my left nostril. I know. Everyone was saying, what are you doing? Impressionable for the children. This is unacceptable, and I just want to formally apologize to everyone out there. I will do a better job with the content in the future. And with that being said, there is a timely and topical issue I want to discuss today, and that is why I'm not getting YouTube fat in 2020. Now, remember, YouTube, we have a skewed perception of body fat levels. So if we're going by actually standards, health markers, so general health markers, those are drastically different than YouTube standards. If you're basically above 13% body fat, what the fuck are you doing on YouTube? Okay. But I want to talk about why in 2020 I'm going to remain leaner, and I want to discuss different stages, different intention when it comes to your lifting, and why that matters overall towards your physique and your goals. Let me talk about it. So, an interesting thing happened. If you're not an OG subscriber, you probably don't even remember when in 2012 my mantra was athletic aesthetic, and I used to talk about that.
And I'm talking about athletic aesthetic.
Athletic aesthetic. The ascendancy of the channel started in around 2013, but really 2014, 15, 16 is where it took off and where I got the bulk majority of said subscribers. But that was only a small capsule of my entire training career. And for a long period of time, I'd stay probably between, 10 to 15% body fat. So I'd say more than an acceptable level of body fat, something where I was lean, but not too lean where it'd be detrimental towards my performance. I'd feel good. It was easy to maintain. Awesome. So 2012 we had that. 2013 when I went down and hung out with Chris Jones and all those guys, I was at that body fat level. But there's a time and place where your goals become different. And that monster, the strength monster, it got me. Where I said this before, I feel for myself, and I've noticed this once again with certain athletes, where you perform better at different body fat levels. Here's what I mean. Deadlifts, it's loyal. Recently, I cut 20 pounds separate. It did nothing to my deadlift, okay? In fact, my deadlift just keeps going up. And that is, once again, I think there's multiple explanations, but I feel better actually at a higher, slightly higher body fat level. My Wilks, if I was to calculate it, a slightly higher body fat level when it comes to the bench press. So I bench press better Wilks-wise, so taking into account the coefficient, so weight being a factor when you're trying to calculate how good your lift is. On the bench press, when I'm at 15 or 16% body fat versus 11 or 12%. And I've said this before, and people are different. Some people perform better at lower body fat percentages. For myself, I'd say on a more optimal level, and I think it has to do with your caloric intake, your daily caloric intake, and multiple factors, but I tend to perform better at a slightly higher body fat level. Nothing gross, but once again, being around 15%. And so last year, what you guys may have noticed, Eric Helms came down. Of course, he's a stud. He's preparing for his bodybuilding show. He's about negative 3.2% body fat. I was doing lateral raises. This is after I hit the high bar squat. And I was trying to chunk up a little bit. Honestly, I had in my head a 400-pound bench press. No joke. And so I was gunning for it. I just hit 375. I got up to about 195. And so I was more soft. And typically, because once again, I like to give a peek behind the curtain, so I don't like to show the illusions on the channel. So we're not pumping up before we talk, not doing anything. We're just trying to normalize what a body looks like when you take the shirt off. So I'm there, shirt off, pale, looking honestly around 18% body fat. And that's, again, in the acceptable range, but likely I could be leaner. And so once again, because the content that was filmed at the height of my popularity was more strength focused, my body fat level was a little bit higher. And that's completely acceptable. I'm comfortable with that. But there's a time and place for everything. For years and years, I'd been between, I would say 10 to 15% body fat. These are just rough estimates. Now for 2020, I will be remaining at a slightly lower body fat percentage. So let's say sub 15%. Why? Well, there's a few different reasons for the IG. Number one would be I want to compete in a sport. Strongman. And the weight class I would be in is 175. And someone that is, I think it's like 177 centimeters, so I'm like 5'9 3/4, whatever, around there. 175, for me, I'd have to be pretty lean to compete in that class. Now, there's 2-hour weigh-ins and 24-hour weigh-ins, but it makes no sense for me to get up to 190 pounds again, even if it means my bench press would go up proportionally as I gain that weight. And again, if I was just focused on strength, like the overhead press, I really cared about increasing, the bench press, same idea, I would likely increase my total weight, and that would, yes, lead to a slight increase in body fat levels, body fat percentage levels. Okay. But again, because I'm trying to compete in a sport where there's multiple disciplines, multiple factors you have to consider. So there's an endurance component, there's a repetition component, there's the dynamic athletic component. I need to remain actually a little bit leaner. So it makes sense for me to stay at this leaner body fat percentage for the entirety of this year. Right now, I'm 181. All the footage where people are like, damn dog, you're looking lean. I'm like, man, it ain't no thing. I said that quite some time. And it's one thing, Severin, to call it out and say, I actually find it pretty easy to remain lean. But it's another thing to walk the walk so people see. But I think for me personally, it is far easier to remain lean because it's a discipline thing. All day, every day, it's no problem saying, no, ish don't think so to some of that food. As opposed to for strength, you know, I can give 100%, but sometimes setbacks happen. And you're really, when you're, I don't want to say near my natural potential, but where once again, let's say I have a 600-pound deadlift at 180, maybe I could get up to 650. You're trying to grind to get up there and it's hard. I think it's harder near your advanced level to get stronger than it is just to remain lean. So for myself, remaining lean ain't no big thing. I'm going to focus on that athletic component. And then once again, because I had so much fun last year in 2019, I'm actually kind of weird where that asceticism, the discipline that you cultivate, the regimen that you have, I enjoy it. And so I enjoyed the process of losing 20 pounds. In fall, after the season's done, I always want to try and promote a healthy perspective when it comes to physiques, when it comes to male physiques in particular, because that's what we're talking about on this channel. You don't have to be shredded year round, okay? And you don't have to be scared about taking your shirt off. I've taken my shirt off, Severin, when I'm at, what, 15, 20% body fat, more than anyone else. There's a reason why, and I laugh, honestly, when I see this, where Larry Wheels, where he took his shirt off. Hats off to Larry Wheels. This was like 2 years ago at a gym. And his cameraman was like, yeah, nobody wants to stand next to Larry. I'm like, I'll fucking take my shirt off. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if I'm dwarf. I don't give a fuck if I'm lean, if that other person is leaner. I think sometimes guys become too self-conscious. And maybe that's one of my problems. I'm too cocky in general. But I think it's important, once again, that's why I'll post when I'm lean, I'll post when I'm soft, I'll post all those photos on Instagram, and I try and give you that peek behind the curtain. Because again, I do want to maximize my aesthetic look, so we'll do, yeah, the lighting, the angles, and all those things, but I also show you what I look like at rest. So I think that's important. Hopefully that explains my perspective, why I'm choosing to remain leaner in 2020, why I'm not going to be getting YouTube fat, the rationale, and how it might apply to you and how it might not, and how if your goals are different, man, that's okay. That's what I want to say. Anyways, that's what's up. Thank you so much for watching the video. We're out here grinding every RPE 12s. If we're not bleeding out of our nose, Severin, at the end of a rep, what are we doing? Training smart? Ew, gross. No. Anyways, if you liked the video, can you add a sound effect for that to make it more dramatic? Boom! Like the damn video, and I'll see all you guys, my rascals, in that next one. Peace!
Eat your vegetables, eat your vegetables, eat your fucking vegetables.